All right, thank you for joining. Today we'll go over XRP, USDT on the Binance chart. As you can see here with XRP, we have just broken out of this downtrend, which was from last week, right? So from last week highs all the way to last week lows, we were in a downtrending market, and we have clearly now broken out of that downtrend, and we're in a accumulation distribution phase. Now, XRP, I'm saying, is a little bit tricky right now because it took out yesterday's lows, impulsed higher, but it did not take out yesterday's high. Not yet, at least. One thing to keep in mind is that it traded extremely close to $1.50. It never quite got there, right? So last week low got to $1.50.28. So this is a psychological level, leading me to believe that XRP is most likely going to end up testing those lows before moving higher, right? I can definitely see that happening. So once again, just taking a look at XRP, it's been in this downtrend. We're in a accumulation distribution pattern right now. Last week, it got extremely close to $1.50. So as you can see, the low is $1.50.2, which leads me to believe that that's going to be a psychological target. And once we end up sweeping these lows, then it would be the best time, in my opinion, to aim long, aim for these highs, possibly even these highs up here at $1.75. But to be a little conservative, this $1.65 to 68 range. That's going to be my target, my future trade if we get that opportunity. Building some liquidity here at the bottom, kind of like a demand zone, a hidden demand zone. Building some liquidity. It's going to stop out those shorts or those longs, those early longs, reclaim most likely, and trade a little bit higher. Okay, so that's what we're going to look out for. And some people are wondering why I'm mainly doing a lot of XRP videos. And I'm just doing XRP videos because at the end of the day, those are the ones that are watching most of my content. It seems like XRP holders love my content, and I'm going to keep on rewarding the ones that watch it, right? Just to keep things very straightforward, like always, and very simple. So since they are watching most of my videos, I will continue to do most XRP videos until other people chime in on other coins they would like to see me chart. And for the most part, I will be looking at mainly the ETF projects, right? Because those projects are already accepted by Wall Street, right? By the New York Stock Exchange. So with that being said, then there's no doubt in my mind, since those are accepted on the New York Stock Exchange, those will just have the higher volume in the crypto industry. So that's going to be Bitcoin, Solana, XRP, Ethereum. Those are all the ETF traded cryptos right now, and those are going to be where the highest volumes will be, right? So with that being said, in my opinion, that's what most people should try to focus on too, because the altcoin market is not the same how it used to be. Previously, you can just buy any altcoin. Once Bitcoin halving starts, you hold it and you're almost guaranteed to 5, 10, 20x. This bull run, that obviously did not happen, right? And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I think the only projects that will get a nice push to the upside are projects that have ETFs. Ethereum, once it beat the case, it impulsed a lot higher. And since it really moved this high after beating the case, it hasn't really done anything else, right? It made its high middle of last year, and it's just been selling off ever since. So this is great for people that are long-term holders because price is just getting more and more affordable to hold for the long run. I still think we're very early in the crypto space, but I think that's all going to change in about the next 1 to 2 cycles, where things really start to be priced in at their actual value. And XRP right now is still finding value, but as I've said before, price will continue to go up as long as the money printing continues, right? So as long as inflation is happening, then prices will naturally just inflate. Because when you start to zoom out, a lot of times these patterns are very similar, right? And sometimes it takes about 4 years for the monetary cycle to catch up, and then you just see the increased price due to inflation. Same pattern, and price starts to come back down. If there is no inflation, I would think XRP is more than likely would just be trading at about $2. All right. And I wonder if we were to do like XRP USDT compared to Bitcoin, and we will see here, right? So the value compared to, I guess it could be XRP USDT. Yeah, so the value compared to Bitcoin, look at that, roughly around the same. As you can see, right, the highs of the last bull run, right around these highs. And look where it got to, right? Pretty much the same thing. If we do XRP, BTC, let's see what happens here. Yep, same thing, right? So its BTC value is roughly around the same. Nothing crazy really happened. And that just shows you the true value of XRP right here. When you look at the BTC chart, it's just showing the strength of XRP since 2020. Not much has changed, right? So keep that in mind. So these are technically, I guess, kind of a hedge against inflation in a way, just because the values do go up to reflect the printing that happens over time. But yeah, just to pretty much move forward with what I think will happen over the next week with XRP. Let's see here. All right, so we've broken out of that trend. So with XRP, you know, we are still trading really close to last month's low, so January lows. Also trading very close to last week's low. We didn't really take out yesterday's low too nicely, so these are just a lot of areas I'm expecting to see a reaction moving forward. I definitely expect to see a move down to touch 150 before moving up, psychological level. And the next big resistance is around 175. And even if we just go ahead and pull the Fibonacci tool of last week's range, right? 50% of last week comes in at around 172. So that's the first clear target, 172. And if it pushes up a little bit higher than that 177, which lines up with the golden pocket retracement off last week's range, would be the next favorable target, right? I just like the way how that's setting up. So 177 will be my overall target for XRP. Once we just sweep some more liquidity, doesn't have to happen, but I am expecting it to happen just because 150 did not technically get tested and it is a psychological level. We want to see it break down below, reclaim, and then push up to that 177 area, right? So we're going to see how that plays out over the next few days. So the rest of this week, everything still looks very bearish for XRP. It just looks like it's for sure aiming for 125. You know, I think short trades are probably the best trades still. The higher time frames is writing the story. You just gotta read along, right? Monthly bearish. So everything's just very bearish. This is just not looking good at all. We had a nice little relief rally here. So this is now a bearish order block at 182. So maybe we get a push up to 182 before coming back down with a final target of 65 cents. All right. So thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and until next time.